Okay, everybody, welcome back. So hopefully the audio is coming in better this time around. I acquired a lapel microphone now, so yesterday's technology today, making its way to the Hoplite channel. If you're new here, thanks for showing up. If this is a return visit for you, thanks for coming back. We are concluding now the third part of the Epictetus Titan series. In my series on the Stoic Titans, we began with Seneca, and now we're going to finish up the parts for Epictetus, and we'll move on to Marcus Aurelius. So I concluded the second video with the personal philosophy of Epictetus as he lived it, as he professed it to his students, and his mark on the philosophy as a scholar and a master of it. So this third video, we'll read again from the Discourses. I will put read-alongs so you can follow with those. But I figured for the first half, we'll talk a little bit more about some points that he wanted to stress for every Stoic in their day-to-day life. And so we look at this kind of simple, I guess you would call it, daily reminder. And that is, every encounter is a new chance to practice virtue. So remember last video I talked about practice makes perfect in the Stoic life. Although we never achieve perfection because that belongs to God, to Zeus. But without practice, you can never even come close to it. So the more you practice, the better you become. The more bricks of virtue you lay on your path to perfection, the more level your road will be. So the Stoic should take life as it comes when it comes. We know that, right? And use each new circumstance as another chance to use reason, we said logos, reason, to get that much closer to happiness, which is eudaimonia, right? So you need to approach life and everything that comes your way as a new chance to practice virtue. This is a new circumstance. Maybe this is something that will be pleasant. Okay, I get to practice virtue on that. Maybe this is something that will be a challenge. Okay, this will be a harder practice. Maybe this is something that could be devastating for me at this point in my life. Again, maybe something going on right now in the world, is quite challenging, and for some people it's going to be devastating. So these are new opportunities as they come to us to practice virtue, to get closer to happiness, and to live our lives as it comes when it comes to us. Because I don't know about you, but a couple months ago I didn't foresee this coming. Maybe some of you did, but as far as I'm concerned, this thing came out of the blue 2 months ago. For some people, they just found out about last month, but this is something that life has thrown at you. This is something that, whether God or Zeus or nature has just thrown at your feet and said, this is the new situation. This is how life is going to be. How are you going to react to it? I'm just still going to continue to lay those bricks of virtue on this road, even though this road might be going uphill. I can't stop laying those bricks as evenly as I can. So take the shot, right? There's another famous philosopher, I believe, who said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I think his name was the Great One. Yeah, I don't remember his real name. He was known as the Great One, and that's what he said. You miss all the shots you don't take, and that's true. So when life gives you a chance to be virtuous, to practice that virtue, don't pass it up, because that's just one more attempt at practice. That's one more shot you're going to look back on and say, I did not take that shot, therefore it can be counted as a miss. Okay, so let's go more into about logos, because that's what we use every encounter in life to practice. So reason alone can comprehend what is, or what it is rather. We mentioned in the last video, there's a quote about logic, is that logic demonstrates its presence and necessity simply because you can't figure out what logic is without using logic. It's like a Chinese finger trap. So I think it's a Chinese finger trap. It's a finger trap. Anyway, reason, logic, demonstrates its necessity, its presence, because you have to think, well, do I need logic? Is logic even there? You have to go through a logical process to even evaluate that. So logic can tell you what it is, why it's necessary. Obviously, you're using it to determine whether or not it's there or necessary, and what it's capable of. So with reason and logic, we can determine what we're capable of and what it's capable of the more we use it. And that's something that is very unique about reason. That Logos has that in and of itself that nothing else does. You say, well, music. We have theory in music. We have melody. We have harmony. Right? Those are the rules of music, as in what makes music pleasant or what gives it structure. But why? Why does this sound correct? To some people, this music sounds terrible. To some people, that music sounds fantastic. Is it good? Well, that's all subjective. If reason and logic can tell you what it is, why it's necessary, and what it's capable of, then it is how you're going to determine what is virtuous. Same with grammar. Theory. Are we using prose or poetry? But why? Why don't we speak in poetry form? Why do we speak in prose form? Is it valuable? Well, some people would say, yeah, grammar is valuable because it gives you rules. But grammar in and of itself cannot describe to you why it's necessary and what it's capable of. Only reason and logic can do this. So I thought that was worth mentioning. Anyway, we'll go to some of the discourses now. We'll read a few passages to wrap up Epictetus, and I will conclude it there. So we go to, this is chapter 3, page 158. And this chapter heading is entitled, What is the Material the Good Man Works Upon? Okay. He begins. The soul is like a vessel filled with water, and impressions are like a ray of light that falls upon the water. If the water is disturbed, the ray will seem to be disturbed likewise, though in reality it is not. Whenever, therefore, a man is seized with vertigo, it is not the arts and virtues that are confounded, but the spirit in which they exist. And if this comes to rest, so will they likewise. Okay. So what is he saying there? Well, he's saying that, man, the soul, the carrier of the soul, is the vessel. And the ray of light that hits this vessel, think of a jar of water or a transparent vase, or something like a cup that you can see rays of light hitting. The rays of light are the impressions, the reactions you have to the world. And the medium is you. You are that glass of water, that jar, that vessel. And if the water is disturbed, as in your constitution, your mind, your perception of the world, then the rays will appear disturbed. But they're not. It just looks that way from the outside observer. The rays are just the rays. I mean, the sun radiates the spectrum of light, and the medium is what is disturbed. But to someone who doesn't know the difference, it appears as though the rays are disturbed. So what he's saying is that if the water is disturbed, the rays will appear disturbed as well. But when the water becomes still and calm and calculated and stoic, the rays also will become calm and straight and stoic. So don't let the rays be disturbed, right? Be at rest. Take your impressions from the world. Take your reactions to these events in life and practice the virtue. And the more you practice, the Logos will come through, and that will help you still your waters. And the rays will not look disturbed, and neither shall the water be disturbed. Okay. I like that analogy. That's a good one. Okay, for number 2, we go to the Handbook. This is in the last section of the Discourses book. This is part 17, page 292. Okay, let me go to that. And it says, remember that you are an actor in a play, which is, as the author wants it to be, short, if he wants it to be short, long, if he wants it to be long. If he wants you to act a poor man, a cripple, a public official, or a private person, see that you act it with skill. For it is your job to act well the part that is assigned to you, but to choose it is another's. All right, so what does this sound like, right? Isn't this familiar? Maybe you heard a certain phrase that someone maybe taught you, or you read, in that so it goes, all the world's a stage and we are merely players, right? And the nerds are saying, yeah, we know, it's Shakespeare, we get it, it's from As You Like It, right? Well, where do you think Shakespeare got it from? Epictetus said something practically identical over 1,000 years beforehand. And it's true. It's a fantastic quote. He's saying that, you are an actor on the stage that is life. And you are not the author of this play. You did not write the script. You did not build the set. And when something comes onto the stage, if it's a prop or if it's another actor, this is at the director's discretion. This is God. This is Zeus making you a part of his play. If he decides to make your role brief, well, your role will be brief. If he decides to make your role long and you become the main character, great. Now you're the main character. If he decides to make you a cripple or a soldier or a king, these will be your roles in life. Now, you have some say over whether or not these roles occur, but when they occur to you, as they occur to you, is the decision of the author of the play. And maybe he will make you a cripple one day, and he will make you able-bodied in the next scene. As Epictetus was, he was a slave in the first act of his life, and then he was free. And then the last act, he was a master. Perhaps in Act 1, you will be king. And perhaps in Act 2, you will be the cripple. You don't know. These things are beyond our control, and we just have to look at life as it is. But no matter what your role, and no matter what act you are in the play that is your life, act it the very best you can. If you are that soldier, be that very best soldier you could be. If you are that king, be the best king you can be, or politician, if that's possible. If you are crippled, be the best you can be in that state. That is what Epictetus is saying, and I think that's what Shakespeare was saying as well. They're both fantastic quotes. Okay, last one for this video. We go to page 301. This is from the Handbook as well. And this is part 37. It goes, this is a brief one. This is a good one to finish on. If you take on a role that is beyond your powers, you not only disgrace yourself in that role, but you neglect the role that you were capable of fulfilling. All right. What's he saying there? He's saying to the reader, as following on the last quote about the world is the stage and we're players. If you take on a role that's not designed for you, you're screwing up the play, right? Nobody wants to see the comic relief come in and try to be the hero. If it's not supposed to be funny, it's not going to work. And if you are the comic relief, number one, you're going to be a crappy hero. And number two, who's going to be the comic relief? So not only are you making the role of the hero lesser for being able to perform that role, but you're neglecting the role that you were designed for, which would be the comic relief. Same is true if you were the main character. If the main character decided, I'm just going to be the comic relief now, somebody else can fill in for the hero, well, again, the play falls apart. The hero is best at being the hero. If he decides to be the comic relief, we get mediocrity all over the place. Someone fills in for the hero, we get a mediocre hero. Hero fills in for comic relief, we get mediocre comic relief. And that's how you have to look at life, right? You may not like what you're doing now, but this is your role for now. Okay, so if you try to do something else you're not suited for, you are doing two disservices. You're neglecting the role you should be doing, and you're giving the world a lesser role that could be filled by someone else who's more apt for it. Okay, yeah. All right, that will conclude Epictetus, part 3. Once again, I appreciate everybody coming to hear me speak on this. Again, hopefully the audio is coming in better this time around, and if so, we'll keep it going. But if you're liking the channel and this series on Stoicism, stick around for Marcus Aurelius, because I'm going to try to do him justice. And he is my favorite of the Stoic titans. So please stand by for the conclusion of the Stoic Titan series with Marcus Aurelius. Once again, if you're liking it, give it a thumbs up. If you really like it, go ahead and subscribe or share it with a friend who you think would get value from it. And we will see you in the next one. Till then, take it easy.